Wow, a big rap before you even start. I thought it was pretty simple just to come up and take you on a journey. Building Hardboard Diggers hasn't been about the last few years. It actually started in the early years of the last century. A group of young kids left the northern beaches on a promise of adventure, excitement, and supporting their mates. They went overseas and arrived in World War I. Instead of that adventure, they actually got the blood, the mud, and the mate falling beside them. So a few years later, they come back, and remember, even by the time they get back, they're young 20-year-old kids. And they're sitting on the 3rd of June on Freshwater Beach. And one said to the other, the wives of the guys that didn't come back can't feed their families. Was it worth it? And Snowy McAllister turned and said, well, that's up to you. You have to make it worth it. So they started an organisation. They simply sold boiled water to people coming to Freshwater Beach. And every penny they got went into a little bucket. And when the bucket got full enough, they'd go up the road, put it on a widow's doorstep, knock on the door, and run away. That's the organisation we started. So then fast forward until about 10 years ago, and there's these two blokes, not so young, sitting on the back of a boat, enjoying a wine, and one saying to the other, mate, it's been there 90 years and it's now not relevant. The original guy's dreams, they're dying. It had lost $6 million over the past 10 years. The community had changed and the traditional club just didn't work anymore. So the other, and of course, at the same time, because it's a glass of wine, there's a separate conversation going on. And once you've had a few glasses of wine, two conversations become one. Both of us heading towards retirement, talking about what we want when we retire. And we'd looked around, hadn't paid much attention to retirement, but thought, I don't live in a retirement village. I want a big screen TV. I want my 100 channels of Foxtel. I want my wine fridge. So the two conversations became one. And a new development simply took that original promise of those 6 young blokes and we built the modern interpretation. So for the last few years, we had to make some conscious decisions. But the first one was we decided that if we were going to do it, we were going to do it to the best possible standard we could. And it's amazing how high those standards are when you've never built retirement before and you don't know what you're getting yourself in for. So we started off even getting our banks together, and instead of going to a bank and saying, please lend us money, we made our banks compete against each other until we got the best offer. And then we searched and we found the 2 best architects that we thought of in the world. One was just finished, one Bligh Street, had built Mona. The second one was just named Times Magazine's Architect of the Decade. Unfortunately, they'd never worked together, so it was then a matter of making them create a partnership just for this project. And then we thought, well, we need engineers, so we went and found the best engineers we could find. The guys that rebuilt the World Trade Center. And we got them on board for this project. Then the funny thing was, we found that our banker, our engineer, and our 2 architects all lived within 10 kilometres of our project site. But then we made the hardest decision we've ever made. And that was simply to recognise and understand that we didn't know everything, that other people could do things better than us. So we recognise we do hospitality well. We sell more beer than anybody in Australia outside a football stadium. but we're certainly not the best Italian restaurant in Australia. So we went and found Pilu, last year's Italian Restaurant of the Year. Runs a white tablecloth restaurant, absolutely stunning. And we told him, put it in a club and reduce the prices for our older members. We recognised that we don't know childcare. So we went and searched childcare centres until we found Explore and Develop. And the biggest choice there was, amazingly, how much the children smiled, was the biggest decision part. And then we recognised that we don't know retirement. So we went and searched for who we believed was running the best village at the time, and we partnered with Watermark Living and said to them, don't just run our village, teach us how to run our village over the next few years. And then, and only then, did we start to build. So we removed 800 tonne of sandstone every day and used 6,375 trucks to do it. We poured 25,000 cubic metres of concrete, 3,500 truckloads of concrete. And so far we've laid 5,871 square metres of paving for people to walk on. Throughout the journey, we've averaged 350 builders every day on our site, and we've just ramped it up for the last few months. It's now 750 builders each and every day on site. But the funny thing is, everybody's telling us it's innovation, that it's considered a world first, the creation of an intergenerational community precinct, standing on one of Sydney's most iconic headlands, definitely. I don't see it. All I see is us delivering that promise from those original 6 guys sitting on the beach. The New Harbour Diggers is a place where children can learn to swim, be educated and cared for. It's a place where mates catch up for a cold beer, where families can enjoy a relaxing meal together, and a place where we encourage healthy living. It's where you can take a break in a day spa, enjoy world-class entertainment, or reconnect with family and friends. But it's also a place where seniors live. It's a place where grandchildren come and visit, simply because it has the best child play centre on the Northern Beaches. It's a place where a son visits his father, simply because we have a big screen TV and a lot of cold beer. And it's a place where we give a range of restaurants attractive enough to pull families together at Nana's front door. It's a gathering place for our community where all ages meet, mingle and socialise. But the difference is we then take the profits and we remember why we exist, and we donate those profits into our local community to make our local community a better place. It's a place where each business unit, that instead of working adjacent to each other, actually works hand in hand. So it's a place where we have our retirement village doing an Adopt a Nana program to our childcare centre, where our childcare centre feeds into our aquatic centre, where 3,500 children a week learn to swim, where our aquatic centre, while parents wait for their kids to have their lessons, feeds into our cafes for mum to have a coffee. It's about social inclusion, from lawn bowls to wine appreciation clubs. And it's about an ongoing events program every day of the year. So when we finish it, it'll actually include 2 bars, 2 coffee shops, a gaming floor, fitness, aquatic, childcare, 96 seniors living apartments, beauty salon, and even a hairdresser's. But it's about social connection. It's about bringing the best of the restaurants. It's about doing monthly gatherings of residents. It's about cooking classes and social clubs. It's a place where a community gathers at the retirement village's front door. It's a place that makes our residents feel special and feel loved. Right down to the times where you make the little decisions. We decided we were going to install Miele ovens into every apartment. So instead of simply doing it, we took each and every one of our residents off on a Miele cooking course. When we open our gym, every one of our residents gets free membership. When we open our aquatic centre, each and every one of our residents has free access. And when we were deciding on which restaurants to go in, one of the questions and one of the conditions was room service to the apartments. And it's funny, other villages, you guys invest in cost centres. You have a village bus to take people shopping, and it costs you to do that. Well, we have a community bus for our hospitality venue that runs 20 hours a day. You guys build swimming pools, and you get great sales from that, but nobody uses the darn things. We have a swimming pool where 3,500 children a week learn to swim. We simply take those cost centres, and because of the type of venue we've built, we've made them profit centres. And then when we looked at the future, we also decided that care had to be an important part of it. So we've now created, and we're about to introduce Mounties Care, which will do everything from assisting you with your shopping through to a fully installed intensive care hospital bed in your apartment with the nurse. We think the result has worked out pretty well for us, and this should give you an idea of how it's looking at the moment. Imagine a place carved from the headland. A place for people of all generations, with a legacy of giving back and making a difference. Imagine a place that offers the whole family something different every day. A place to explore, to meet, to gather, to enjoy. Where the little ones can discover the world and parents can revisit friendships. Imagine waking up here or here and finding yourself somewhere you can really call home. Somewhere to be cared for. Somewhere to stop and think. Take it in. And soak it up. Imagine a new generation of club, never seen before in Australia. Imagine coming for breakfast, but staying for dinner. A home away from home. A perfect place to spend long summer nights with friends and family. As part of a community. Imagine this place exists, and it's right here in your backyard. Welcome to the new Hardwood Diggers. So we opened this June, 96 apartments in total. We've sold 76 of our 79 Stage 1 apartments off the plan. We've already sold 5 of our Stage 2 apartments before I pulled them off sale. We've taken a tired, obsolete, traditional granddad's RSL and turned it into something we think is pretty special. And on the day we open, we get a development profit. We have absolutely no debt. It produces an income of over $4 million a year before we open our doors each day. And we did it all for a total cost to us of $13 million, which we cash flowed and we'll get back at the end of it. Our restaurants, our childcare, our fitness centre and our aquatic centres are already leased out and paying us rent of more than $2 million a year. Our childcare is already fully booked out and has 100 children on a waiting list. Our fitness centre has 1,000 members and doesn't open until 2019. Our aquatic centre will teach 3,500 children how to swim every week. And when you're based on a headland in a beachside suburb, that's pretty darn important. We're $15 million ahead of where we thought we'd be in apartment sales. And when it's completed, it'll result in $21 million a year contributed to our local community every year. Most importantly, we haven't sold 1 inch of our land or given away 1 inch of anything we own. But our residents are 20% less likely to go to a nursing home. It's funny. For our first ever development, we're pretty happy with the way it's turned out. And geez, it meant there's a lot more to come. So Mounties will move from here to the inner west and we'll do it again. But we'll do it better because you learn a lot when you do your first development. And then we'll do a third straight after that. So to give you a couple of ideas of some statistics and to cut off any questions, of course. Our square metre rates range between $14,000 and $27,000 per square metre. Average price was $2.3 million an apartment. Our prices ranged from 1.1 to 4 mil. Our average entry age is a bit young at 67, but people aren't buying into a retirement village. They're buying a lifestyle. And I think the most important thing of all, we've kept that promise that those guys made back in the early part of last century. I think that's it. Thank you.